One of the best series in all of EVE Online is A Nomad's Tale, or ANT for short, and we need to experience it with all of you. You're going to learn, you're going to enjoy, and most importantly, you're going to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Yes, the first episode of A Nomad's Tale. Let's start this.
At some point in the past decade and change, I've been a lineman in null blocks, a low-sec pirate, a mission runner, a solo artist, and honestly just about everything in between. Because I benefit from the context of having both killed and lost a lot of ships in my time, having experienced various playstyles, and having met a lot of people, I can confidently say that I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. After a 3-year hiatus, I have returned to the game and became immediately fixated on a concept known as nomading. In a nutshell, this involves using an Orca to live in Anoikis, also known as J-space or wormhole space, without needing to commit to anchoring a citadel. Despite having a bit of experience with wormholes, I'm largely...
So, to be clear, you can live in EVE without being in a station. So right now, I'm in a station. All my stuff, all of my things are in an NPC station in Jeddah. All of this, okay, all of this is in an NPC station in Jeddah, and I am safe. I am invincible as long as they don't change this, you know what I'm saying? And this is not gettable. So what nomading is using a POS, is using anchorables to live out in space. When we do EVE Frontier content, you're going to see that this is actually how EVE Frontier is. That's how it's played. A lot of fun. Let's see what Chloroken does here.
Going into this with limited knowledge on top of having no funding whatsoever. To obtain the starting funds for this adventure, I ran relic sites for a week or so and collected several billion to get going. I want to try the Nomad playstyle for a few reasons. The first and arguably most important is that it looks fun. I love playing EVE solo. I think that having a personal base of operations in one of the spookiest sectors of the game just sounds like it would be a good time. The second reason I want to try being a nomad is that I admire the culture of the PvP groups found within J-space. Yeah, sure, evictions are a thing, and they're kind of scummy. You could argue knocking down castles is mean, but in my experience, the vast majority of...
let's say you're in low-sec and you put up a POS. Won't get destroyed that day by others, says Zerg Cow. I figured he survived so long because wormholes. The short answer is yes, wormholes. If you try to do this in low-sec, you're going to get mobbed for sure. You're going to see throughout this series the amount of work it takes to defend that, okay? And it's still doable, but it is going to get popped in low-sec specifically. Wormholes are a specific area of space that are like on top of everything. So definitely is because he's in wormhole. So, and you might say, well, wormholes have this, low-sec has that. You're right. Let's see what he does about it.
Just want to shoot at each other and have a good time and not have to chase crabs around forever, right? The third reason is that I want to try documenting one of my EVE adventures for the first time ever. I've never done that, so having the ability to do something as complex and all-encompassing as a Nomad playstyle while remaining solo is very appealing and the foundation upon why I am recording this series. During the last few seconds of this intro, I want to briefly touch on what to expect from this video series. I plan to record interesting things that happen to me out in Anoikis. Some of these might be PvE, some of them might be hauling, some of it might be setting up bases, some of it might be PvP with other players, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a pack of variety clips. Ultimately, even with lots of trimming, some of the clips might be a bit long-winded. To combat this, I'm going to thoroughly chapterize the contents of all of these videos so you can skip around if something is too boring. One last quick note.
Which, by the way, that is one of the best parts about this, is that if you just want to know how this goes and like what day he's on, like if you're like, you know what, this part doesn't really interest me, I'm just going to skip ahead because these are long videos. These are an hour and a half. Some of these are 3 hours long. He literally makes movies out of this. This series is one of the best because of that, in fact, because you can actually skip to what you would like. So, well freaking done. I love this intro about like how this is. This is very EVE. Like, before I show you literal movies, here's what to expect. It's pretty awesome.
Before it comes up, I am choosing not to censor my username or system or activities or bookmarks or anything because, quite frankly, I don't think I'm particularly valuable to kill. And even if you do use these videos to find a way to kill me, I say fair play to you. And one day, I hope to be as good as you. With that said, let's move to Chapter 2, the Tools of the Trade, a chapter that will help you understand what ships and items are required for this playstyle. So to give you an idea of how...
Before we get into how he's doing it, this is actually probably the most valuable part of this, the humility there is pretty sick. We've said this before, that if you use like stuff on live or on videos to like stream snipe people or to gather information, it's technically cheating because you're doing so with information out of the game that is not available in the game. That's the difference. Z-kill isn't cheating because it's information available in the game and out of the game. But if I'm in some random wormhole and somebody finds me because I'm streaming in that area, seeing like the J1579, whatever the heck, then that's not easily available in the game, or at least available in the game, period. So that's why he says it's fine. That's his opinion. It's okay. I'm not here to agree with everything that Chloroken says. You know what I'm saying? This is sick. Here is the absolute juice. Let's see what he's got here.
We're going to tackle this Nomad play style as a single person with 3 accounts. I've compiled a list here of the various tools we're going to use, and we're going to go through them real quick before we start showing any footage from the wormhole. So the first and most important thing is the Orca, obviously. Couple notes about this real quick. These die in high sec all the time. You are not safe in high sec. You need to scout yourself the entire way and be on top of things if you're moving an Orca around.
Yes.
They are worth a lot of money, and they do go down quick. They're often full of really valuable stuff too. So that's a quick note. So the Orca sits in our home system, and that acts as our main storage. It kind of acts as like a little citadel. You can refit on it. You can store stuff.
Go here so y'all can see.
This is actually what lets us get away with the Nomad playstyle, and it allows us to become what I consider unevictable. So the second thing you need is a blockade runner. I use a crane. This is how you get stuff from the Orca to K-space. So when you know.
He's right, by the way.
The thing you need is a blockade runner. I use a crane. This is how.
Okay, Vider. I find the Vider to be better than a crane simply because of how the slots are set up. The Vider has more lows than the crane does because the crane is a shield ship. I find the Vider is more slippery because of that, because the low slots where the eye stabs are, you can get a lower align time and you can keep the covert op plus low align time stuff going. This is a great point, though. I want you to look at this list, and even if you're not planning on doing this, I want you to see the best ships in the game are on this list. The best, I'm doing this reaction series because I've never seen anything like this before. I've seen people play out of stations and they pick whatever the best ship is and they just fly that, and they only fly it to whatever the meta dictates. He's going to show you how to fly. These are some of the best ships in the game, but he flies them uniquely and specifically. And there's a lot of planning that goes into this. This is why it screams Eve, because there's a plan and it's well executed and there's friction. So just because there's a plan at the start doesn't mean that that's how it is forever. You're going to see.
You get stuff from the Orca to K-space. So when
crane does look cooler.
Pick up their stuff, get gas, resources, you need to get it to K-space to sell it. This is how you do it. Yes. Generally speaking, you're going to want to use your blockade runner to pull resources.
What's K-space? I'm going to try to explain some stuff because we have some newer people. K-space is known space. J-space is considered unknown. So you know how the map in Eve is all K-space. Okay, this is every single spot that you see here is K-space. All right. Wormhole space exists like over this, where it's ungettable, and wormholes are like opening and closing every single day. So J-space, in my mind, exists in a layer above K-space. So he's using the blockade runner to go there and back again in between K-space and J-space. All right, so that's the difference there.
From your Orca and put it in a station right outside of your wormhole exit. And then you're going to want to use a deep space transport, which is stationed in Jeddah, to run to that location that you stored everything with the crane.
So a DST, deep space transport, versus a blockade runner. This is really important to understand why he's doing this. So he's got the blockade runner with him at all times because the blockade runner is slippery. I don't know why. This is bugs because I've unlocked those ships forever ago. A crane is a blockade runner and is a slippery ship. We go over this in a lot of our hauling videos. They both take the transport ship skill, but the crane is the slippery ship. It can fit covert ops cloak. It can align faster. It can hold less. The bustard is the DST, is the deep space transport. This is much tankier, much bulkier, and can hold a crap ton more. I've said this before. If you're a new bro watching this, one of the single best ships you can get early enough to unlock how you play the game, to unlock New Eden, is Tech 2 transport ships. I don't care which one. Okay, that is true, Nico. The DST, the Buster, does not have covert ops cloak. Not. So when I got the Vider and the Occator, which I still fly to this day, I have them here, okay? I have many of them. I have a couple of them. I have my Occator here. I have my Vider. Let me show you my Occator fit, so if you want to use it, you can use it, because I don't know if he goes into specific fits, and then we will go from there. This is my high-sec Occator fit that I might take into low sec, but this is typically the one that I use in high sec, so I don't get pointed by one guy and held at a gate. I have the blip in case I need to go away. I have the afterburner plus, it's not the micro warp drive cloak trick. It's the afterburner 1 pulse, and I have the lesser cloak in case I have to go cloak on a safe. You can't do the micro warp drive cloak trick with these two. That's not what I'm trying to do here. And just in case I go into an area that's a little bit dangerous, I do have the interdiction nullifier just in case. I got 100,000 EHP, and the best part about the DSTs is they get a massive bonus to overheating. So you can see I go up to 140 from 100k to 140. So we get a massive bonus. Let me find it. A double bonus to overheating. Okay, double. So we go from, if you look right here, we go from 120k, excuse me, up to 140k. So we gain about 20k EHP from that. It's pretty sick, pretty awesome. So that's my high sec Occator, and that's what I recommend y'all do if you're flying stuff. And you can fly the Crane, you can fly the Bustard. I have them all, chat. I prefer the Vider and the Occators because I'm used to them. The Occator is the most low slots. I think objectively the best DST is the Impel, because I think it has the most lows, and since it's exactly. Since it's a armor focused ship and it has the most lows, you can fit the most armor modules in the Impel. And then I think the best blockade runner is the Vider, but that's depending on the situation too. So we will see. So
and bring it all to Jita in one fell swoop. That way you can
gonna love it.
Do about 3 or 4 trips with a crane and get it all with a Bustard.
Okay.
The next ship we're looking at is Ventures, and I know these are dirt cheap and a noob ship, but they actually are just as good as Prospects when it comes to gas intake.
Yep.
They just have a smaller.
Venture, one of the best ships in the game. One of the best ships in the game. You could do a lot with a single Venture, a lot. And sure, the yield doesn't incredible, but for the price, come on, so good.
Fuel bay, or mining hold rather.
Yep.
So you're gonna need at least 3 of these. I suggest 6 because you're probably gonna lose them because sometimes people kill these, even though it's not very juicy. They do need to die. They're little gnats. So you're going to store these inside of the Orca's ship maintenance bay, and this is how you get gas, okay? You're also going to want to prospect at some point, because you're going to want to Jedi Mind Trick a particular gas site, which basically involves kiting a rat in an orbit, and the rat never hits you, and you can fill up the entire prospect bay, which is 12,000.
And prospect, he does hit this, but a prospect is the better venture, okay? So the prospect is the Tech 2 version of, and we're going to over-explain some stuff, chat, because there's going to be a lot of new bros watching. The prospect is the Tech 2 version of the venture. The difference between these two is very similar to what we were just talking about with the Vider and the Occator. So the Prospect is the cloaky one. The Prospect can fit a covert ops cloak and is meant for gas. The Endurance cannot fit a cloak, but goes after ice and is hardier. It's not hardy, all things considered, but it is hardier, okay? So the Prospect is perfect for wormholes. The Prospect is one of my favorite ships in the entire game. It's so versatile. It's so cloaky. And the Prospect he does touch on this. The Prospect has a much bigger hold than the Venture does for mining. The mining hold capacity you can see here is 12,500, okay, 12,500 in the Prospect. The Venture has how much? I don't remember off the top of my head because I haven't flown one in a long time. The Prospect has almost triple. Okay, it's, what was that, 2.5 times? 2.5? It's crazy. It's just a lot. So Prospect can hold way more. Yeah, if y'all are coming in for the Friday fleet, keep on joining. We are accepting all the invites for our fleet. Come on down, y'all. We're gonna have a great time. Let's keep seeing what this does.
500 meters cubed. So you can get some good money. Completely AFK, and people can hardly even gank you because the rats will kill them with a Prospect. So very important ship. You get a little income for free. You're also gonna need scanning ships, hacking ships. I actually map with these. You can also map with tier 3 cruisers, which we are also gonna need. These are generally
primary scanner hacker, secondary scanner Helios. So what's the difference? Cheetah and Helios. Is the Cheetah the Tech 2 or is that the Tech 1? I know Helios is the Galente Tech 2 Explorer. The Helios is the covert op ship for Galente. Is the Cheetah the Tech 2 for this guy? Move this out of the way. No, that's the other one, excuse me. Minmata. Come on, get out of the way. It's been a little bit. Okay, so I'm not sure what the difference is and why he has one of each. We'll have to see. Why primary scanner Cheetah? I hope he explains. We will see.
Sat in by characters designed to run them. I have 3. We have Loki and 2 Proteuses. So this is how you engage and interact with other people with these ships. So don't be afraid to lose them. They're dirt cheap these days. I mean, you don't lose skills anymore, I don't think. So let's go nuts. Next thing we're gonna need 2 small towers. Small tower plus Orca is how you're unevictable, right? So if you can erect a small tower online and get the shield online, your Orcas can log in that POS and be completely invulnerable. And if somebody wants to come and attack you, you can just log out.
Right.
Right. So the logout plus the Orca plus the tower is what makes it safe. You don't really need a tower. You can also stealth the Orca and just use it and re-stealth it with the cloaking module. But the tower allows you to kind of just have the luxury of just going AFK in the pass and etc. We bring 2 because you're going to want to move. So you have 1 boss with the Orca in it. Set up another one. Move the Orca to the other one. Get rid of the first boss, right? Super easy. We don't want Straunt. This prevents somebody from one-shotting your tower since we don't put any modules on it. It does die incredibly fast, so you need Straunt. You're going to want a bunch of pos fuel, as much as you can really carry, assuming you're going to stick committed to this. You need a ship maintenance array. This allows you to refit the Orca within the force field of the pos. Otherwise, you'd have to get a mobile depot or have, I think, a second Orca nearby, something like that.
Right.
We just bring an SMA. Yeah, I guess it's kind of expensive for this one use, but it's really handy. You're going to want to refit the Orca when you move it, etc. So bring a ship maintenance array. It's really nice. Just anchor it and then use it and then...
Chloroken has DM'd me. I told him, hey, we're reacting to your stuff. I said, hey, he goes, he was telling me, hey, maybe you want to speed things up. And I was like, 1.25 speed, no problem. He goes, most people do 1.5, Keck W.
Unanchor it and put it back in your bed. You don't want any buildings actually anchored besides the small tower. And then lastly, some mobile depots, okay?
What you're looking at is an incredibly well thought out system, okay? You've got the storage. This is super important that the Orca has a ship maintenance bay. That means that the Orca can have other ships refit around it. I do believe that is what they have. So let me double check because I just don't want to talk and be wrong. Let me double check here. Mining holds, fleet hangar. Yeah, since the Orca has a ship maintenance bay, okay, that's this guy here. Not only can it hold fully fitted ships, which is what that is, that's what he's talking about, but any ship that's in the vicinity of the Orca can use fitting services. You can refit your ship in space like the Orca's a mobile depot because it has a ship maintenance bay. Other ships that have ship maintenance bays, you could do the same. I believe the one that everybody uses that is like the, quote, cheapest is the Nestor. The Nestor is a battleship that has a ship maintenance bay. Everything else is like a bigger ship. Let me go see it. Yeah, the Nestor has a small ship maintenance bay, only 5,000. It can fit 1 fit shuttle, I think. But because it has a ship maintenance bay, everything around the Nestor can use it like a mobile depot. The Orca is much more expensive than the Nestor, I think, right? It's got to be. Isn't the Nestor like $1 billion and the Orca is like more than $1 billion? Nestor is 1.1 billion. How much is the Orca here? So Nestor is $1 billion. Is the Orca still? Last time I checked, the Orca was like 2 billion. Yeah. So it's just under 2 billion. Makes sense to me. So really well thought out plan here from Chloroken. Let's keep on seeing.
Real quick, there's a lot that goes into this, right? We could talk all day about this, but I'm just going to touch on one thing. For the Orca, moving it is the most vulnerable spot of the whole setup. When you're moving, you can lose it. It's that simple. So you're going to want base.
Oh, the Nestor can fit a fully fit frigate, can fit and a Stero. Okay, sick. Love that. 2 frigates.
You're going to want a cloak, micro warp drive. You're probably going to want EC drones, ECM bursts, and the mediums. However, many things you can stick on your ship to keep it alive. I even use a warp core stab sometimes because if a lone tier 3 cruiser walks up, it actually can't nab it. Right.
Totally.
For utility, you're going to want remote armor reps. Hull reps so you can repair your tier 3s if they get low.
That's a really important thing. He'll probably go fast past this, but you can't repair your ship if you're nomading. You have to be able to heal yourself. So he brings remote armor and hull reps to be able to make sure that all of his other ships can be healed, and you best believe he can just slap them onto the Loki or the Proteus and heal up the Orca just in case. But I have a feeling the Orca's never going to get damaged. If it gets damaged, it's going to get popped. That's just,
Oh, you don't have a citadel to tether on, you can't repair.
That's
and lastly,
true.
you're going to need industrial core and gas compressor. This allows you to take the money earned from your ventures and prospects and actually bring it via the crane and buster to Jeddah. Okay, it's a lot to take in. If it's too much, pause it right here, screenshot it, do what you have to do. Your setup could look quite a bit different than mine. Maybe you only want 1 tower. Maybe you don't want a PvP at all. Maybe you don't want to do gas at all. Either way, you're going to have an Orca. You're going to have a blockade runner. You're going to have at least 1 tower. Usually, it really doesn't make sense to not bring one. You're going to need a scanner. So I would start there.
As we go in, I want y'all to pay attention to one thing. The play style that Chloroken is going to do is going to be so unique compared to how the rest of us play that live in stations. And I want you to understand, I want you to watch this through this lens. How Chloroken is playing this is how E-Frontier plays for everybody. We're going to have more guides on E-Frontier coming out now that it's out, now that I can actually talk about it, okay? This nomad play style of being in space, the wormhole life, one of the best places in all of EVE, in my opinion. That's how Frontier plays. Y'all gonna have fun.
So the first 4 days were fairly uneventful. I anchored a small tower inside of a C4 with a C3 and a C2 static.
Sick.
I then moved my Orca in about 3 minutes before downtime and successfully set up. Not much went on. However, I ultimately chose this hole because I noticed an Astrahus was there and it was low power and the corporation was seemingly inactive. So my plan was to set up, get my bearings, get all my stuff ready, and take out this Astrahus with a bunch of Vexers or some throwaway ship. So to that end, I did pop the shield, and we waited on a timer, so the next time we check in, we'll be trying to take out this Astrahus and scoop up some of that juicy loot if we can.
Awesome.
And once we scoop up some loot and clear this hole out, we're going to try to move to the C5 highway. I'm not sure if that entails setting up in a C4 or a C5 yet, but we'll make that decision after we knock the Astrahus down.
Crazy.
So here we're trying.
What's the C5 highway? C5 highway is... C5s are considered to be the best wormholes outside of shattered wormholes. They are the wormholes that have the highest loot. They are the wormholes that have the highest escalations, the highest mobs. Very, very hard to do by yourself. When you have 3 accounts, definitely doable. Sounds like a really good space to start.
After we knock the Astrahus down.
Let's see what
so here we're trying to bash an Astrahus with a bunch of shit-fit Vexers because the Astra, drops the core, could have it inside of it, so... We've killed his shield and waited, and now we're going to take the armor and hull. But, as is traditional in wormhole space, towers are juicy, and people have friends.
Yep. So,
what happens next is fairly obvious in that this gang absolutely whips the ever-living shit out of me. And they end up taking the Astrahus.
Man, that's Eve, baby.
I would call unfortunate about this is not that I died. Of course, these Vexers were dirt cheap and meant to die. The thing that's unfortunate is that I spent all that time killing the shield and whittling down a bit of the armor. And I didn't even get on the kill mail of the Astrahus, which was a bit sad. Because, strangely enough, they killed it exactly 16 minutes after I died. And the way kill mails work is you have to be attacking it within 15 minutes of it dying, or you don't get on it. So that's a little bit of a bummer.
That's crazy. So Chloroken had been whittling down this Astrahus, okay, with drones. Why drones? Because they don't cost ammo. So if you're a nomad, you're not going to be spending, 50,000 rockets or something stupid, right? 5 million rockets, whatever it is. Just throw a bunch of Vexers and have drones on it and let it sit there. When you have 3 accounts, though, with Vexers, with drones, even if they're Tech 2s, it's going to take you the better part of maybe a day. So he did all that work to get its shields down, and then a gang rolls in with a solid dictor tackle. I mean, look at this. These bubbles are actually perfect. Like, they're literally overlapping with the center. This is a professional dictor pilot. And then to take him out with those Vexers makes sense. GF, Omen Navy's really, really good stuff coming in. He got popped. This is what happens, chat. Sometimes there's a bigger school of fish. That's how it goes, right? That's E for you.
Attacking it within 15 minutes of it dying.
Sometimes you're the bigger school, though.
That's a little bit of a bummer.
Like today.
So anyway, these guys whipped my ass. The Astrahus is dead, which is cool. So we can potentially leave this hole now. That was our goal, was to pop this Astra, since we saw it low power. So we'll see what happens next. We'll see what hole I choose to move into and what direction I plan on moving. And yeah, don't forget, wormhole space, you're never alone.
Yeah. Really good lesson. He kind of goes over it here, but really good lesson to understand. In wormhole space, you're never alone. You have to plan. I always plan for I'm going to get jumped. I fit my ships assuming I'm going to get jumped. Because if I don't get jumped for 3 weeks, whatever. But then the one time I get jumped, I'm prepared enough to be ready to go. I brick fit. I got my stuff coming in. It's really the right thing to do, I think. So, and this is one of my favorite things about the series is that he just goes on an adventure, right? He's just like, all right, I'm going to have this Astrahus. Well, I didn't get it. What else is on the horizon?
German guys will get you.
Let's see.
The cool part is that I went back and saw the loot that dropped from the Astrahus, and it was fucking insane. I mean, not good, but just rookie ships everywhere, cargo containers everywhere. It looked like a disco ball full of cans and little ships and ventures and shit. And it was fun watching those guys shoot those ships and just get like 100 kill mills. But
sick.
Next time that'll be me. It'll be fun.
Cool. So the Astrahus was full of a bunch of rookie ships.
So it is day 6 or so.
Okay.
Of the nomad life. And our current home, which is in a C4 with a C2 and a C3 static, is no longer cutting it. We would like to be able to mine more gas, have access to the C5 highway, and generally just be further away from K-space.
I want you to see how he's doing this. He's got his Orca aligning to a bookmark, and he's already scanned this down. He's aligning it out. This is not just a, I'm going to warp to this wormhole. He's got scouts on this side, on that side. He's a professional. Okay, this is how you got to move ships that are this valuable. You can't just warp to something, you know. You have to move in a line. You have to plan it out. You got to move forward the right way. Be able to get it done, okay?
So what we're going to do is move to a C4 with a C5 and another C4 static. To do that, we have to make ourselves vulnerable.
Yep.
We have to actually go out and move our Orca, which is the only time this setup risks anything. To make it easier, we have monitored the holes for the past couple hours, and we have scouts on either side of the target wormhole. But ultimately, if somebody was to be watching the POS, and you don't do this at downtime, you could easily lose your Orca with everything inside of it.
True. You're never safe.
Now, for this to work, there's basically two ways to do it. The first way is the way I'm doing it, where you place a second control tower in the destination system, and then you online them both, and then you leapfrog from one to the next. The second way to do it is to have your hauler not be your Orca pilot as well, like I have it. In that case, you could actually take the Orca, leave the POS and cloak up, and then you could unanchor the POS.
I want you to see how he's doing this too, and then I'll talk about what I would do in this situation. So he's in a tower, okay? He's in the bubble. He has a wormhole, okay? He aligns the Orca, and he just has it go because he's in this bubble. He's safe. He warps to the wormhole. This is good. You're safe en route. No one's going to catch you here. The problem is when you come out the other side. The problem when you come out the other side of the wormhole, and this is your new tower, he's not safe here yet. He's not safe here yet. So what he has to do, you saw him use his micro warp drive, and he's probably going to use the cloak. This is the micro warp drive cloak trick, just to make sure that you can align and then warp out within 10 seconds. That's what that does. It's one of the best ways to travel with an Orca. He's probably going to do that. What I would do, if this is something you're looking into, chat, you need a web alt. You need a web alt, and we have videos on this that actually targets your Orca and webs your Orca to make it go slow so you warp much faster. That's what I would do. It was the only thing I would change here. When I first saw the series, I was like, man, this is such a sick way to do this. Now that I've moved Orcas into Pochfin myself, and boy, was I being hunted, y'all. It was nuts. So Orca can do that with the overheated micro warp drive. I could totally agree. Yes, correct. And what I would do is use a webbing alt. How I recommend you do a webbing alt is two ways. I'm going to show you two of these, and we talk about these in other videos, but we'll give this to you right now. This is going to be the Hugin. Okay, this is the Hugin. This is our webbing alt that we use in high sec to get the Orca. Why the Hugin? Because it has a 34K range on its webs. So the moment you get uncloaked, you can just hit these. Let me do this right here. The moment you get uncloaked, you can lock up. Come on. You can lock up your Orca, and then you can immediately web it and keep it going. It turns a 10-second align and warp into a sub 2 align and warp. Okay. But because he's in a wormhole, I recommend a rapier. It's fit with a covert ops cloak. Now hold. Many of you just saw cloak and freaked out like,
Loru, it doubles the time on the lock.
Not a covert ops cloak. Covert ops cloak does not affect your lock time. The rapier is a different ship than the Hugin and can fit a covert things, whatever the heck, this ship is different than the Hugin. You still get the range within 34, but if you put on the double scan res scripts, you still have over 400 on your scan res. This is the number that we want to go for. Over 400 for the Orca. I found I could insta-lock this Orca. And with the covert ops cloak, you can get around a wormhole space super easy. You can keep it going. When you're done, you can web stuff still within 34. You have active tank just in case. You can insta-lock them with over 400 scan res. You have a great warp core stab just in case, and you still have a sub 4 align. The rockets are just there, the missiles, whatever, are just a stopgap. We're not here to do DPS. Okay. These ships were a massive amount of ideation for me for this specific thing. All right. Both these fits will be in the description for you. Rapier and Hugin are the best tugboat alts, as I call them, because they haul your big bad stuff coming in. That is what I recommend. The Hugin for safe areas of space. The Rapier is really good for dangerous areas of space because of its covert ops cloak. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's see about it.
And then put it in the new system. So you only need one stick that way. However, I like leapfrogging. It's just significantly easier. So I think it's a little safer. But
right, Nimrod? Yes.
So basically, right now is the most vulnerable time of the entire setup. This exact moment, right before we took off here, was because, I mean, anything kills us here. We can't.
Right, 10 seconds. And this is why I think it's worth it. So you only have a 10-second window to get the Orca because the micro warp drive has a 10-second pulse. That 10 seconds, you can get the Orca. But if you use the tugboat, it's like 2 seconds. And they have to take out the tugboat first. And it's like another thing to like, it's a Rapier. Oh, I should probably hit the Rapier. And then Orca uncloaks. You're like, huh? You know, and then people are like confused. So I would definitely do that. So you could use a Loki as well. It's a really good point from Gone Linked. Says, considering the size of the fitting, a cruiser though, if you're going to web, probably better to do with a refit into a Venture or something. I would do it into a Loki. You could do a web fit Loki for a tugboat because Lokis have plus web bonuses, just one of their submodules. So you could definitely do that. So yeah, instantly slingshotting freighters. It's one of my favorite things. I love it.
A single tier 3 cruiser would destroy us since we're not set up for combat yet.
Yes.
But luckily we made it with the micro cloak trick. It takes me 2 cycles because my skills are bad. So we have to micro 1 cycle and then we cloak micro the next and then we whip off. Yeah. And since we have a POS already set up, we slide right in. But for those 10 or so seconds where you're decloaked, I mean, you know, you gotta risk it for the biscuit. You know what I'm saying?
He's right.
You gotta risk it.
Gotta risk it for the biscuit, baby.
You could also do this during downtime. Like 5 minutes before downtime. That's the safest possible way to move the Orca.
So now he's in the bubble. Okay, he's in this tower. You're invulnerable as long as the shields are up. Okay, so worth it. It's safe. He's in. He just adds some fuel. You can see he's got like his inventory down here. Excellent stuff.
Like 5 minutes before downtime. That's the safest possible way to move the Orca. And I think if it's full of really valuable shit, that's the no-brain way to do it. But no-brainer, the way to do it. But we decided to risk it because we had a pretty good idea of what was going on.
I want to also show this because this is not known to newer players. He puts the stuff into the fuel bay, and then he's got a bookmark here that he just right-clicks and says approach with the Orca. This is not nothing. This is not a random thing that he is doing. Instead of putting his Orca into this shield and just letting it sit there and going like, well, whatever, I'll just park it here, I guess. He right-clicks this and presses approach. That Orca, even if it's bumped, will come back to that location. He doesn't have to think about it. This is a big deal because if you are multi-boxing, if you have a bunch of stuff, you need to have what I like to call a bookmark anchor. We use that for our Friday fleet a lot, where I'm like, hey, I want to sit here because I tell people in our Friday fleet, hey, put your prop mods on, put your propulsion modules on, get to me and then turn it off. Well, somebody has come like 8K and bumped me the hell off a point and then I come right back. Since everybody's anchored onto me, it's like there's a little bit of a bubble of chaos. There's a mosh pit, and then we come back to the approach point. This is not random. You can drift away over and over again, correct, when you log out and back. So you got to make sure you bookmark this, approach it for maintenance. Very good point, Blue Gray. Yes. Totally correct.
No way to do it, but
totally correct.
We decided to risk it because we had a pretty good idea of what was going on with the holes, and this system we're in now is huge, and there's jack shit near this celestial, so pretty safe. So after I got settled in to this wormhole, I noticed a group of people come in and start shooting rats at some of the gas sites. So I'm like, okay, interesting.
Sick.
Wormhole's already hot. That's fun, right? But what I quickly realized is that they're killing the rats to leave and then come back to scoop the gas, right? With whatever ships they choose to bring. So I'm like, okay, can't stand this. No way, not a chance. So I hop in the cheetah and I watch their hole, and they go back in their ships and they come back in a huge group of prospects. So I wait for them to get on grid to this site I'm at right now. And as soon as they're on grid, they start shooting their little lasers. I decloak and I turn my micro on and I just fucking absolutely nail one of these prospects and just start flying and start locking them all. And I guess he sees that and panics and he warps off back to the hole, and he went back in the hole and never saw him again. So what that means is that all of these gas sites that he cleared the rats out of, I can completely clear with my ventures, even though I don't have any combat ships out here yet. So doing the math on that, I mean, we're talking about probably somewhere in the range of 1.3 billion ISK. And it's only going to take me, I don't know, 6 hours or so of mostly AFK, so.
Finding gasites in a wormhole is one of my favorite activities to do off stream. I can't do it on stream anymore because people just hunt you down. You know, it's just a fact that if you're a content creator, people just show up and they just like to hunt you. So we adapt and we move forward. I just do it off stream on accounts that they have no idea what they are. We just keep it going. It's just a great time. Wormhole day tripping, as I call it. One of my favorite things is to like, I'm in high sec. I go into a wormhole. I go there for like a day. I'm like living in spots. I'm cloaked up and then I come back and I get out of the hole some other way. It's really, really sick. Love that. Love that.
All I can say to that guy is thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we went to Jeddah and we managed to get ourselves a skill extractor, which in turn allows us to train these skills here.
Nice.
And what these will allow us to do is compress our gas, because now we can use an industrial core.
Chloroken, you do skills opposite of what I do, brother. Okay. You put one skill on. I just have all the level 5s I ever needed queued up just in case I take like a month break. I know it's good. We're training into Eden Com ships because we're about to do some more Abyss videos, and I have some Thunderchild stuff coming out at some point. And obviously you can't take a Thunderchild into the Abyss, right? But man, he put one skill on and called it a day. I have 1,000 days. Just this is one character too. So it's important to know though, chat. This use of the LSI is actually how you're supposed to use it. If you want to, you know what? I want to fly something now. I want to fly this now, and I don't want to deal with a month and a half of playtime. I want to fly this now. That's how to use the LSIs. And if you remember on one of our recent streams, we actually did that on stream where I was like, you know what? I have a couple of these stockpiles because of my various alts that are farming LSIs. I have, is it 17 now? No, I have 19, I think it's 18 maybe, characters farming LSIs and PI. I'm using them like dominoes. I have one character, and we talk about this in one of our videos. I'll find it for you while I'm talking about this. It's the My Alt Guide playlist, okay? And it's really, really sick. It's one of my favorite videos because it really has helped a ton of you do more stuff. This one, Your Cash is Burning. This one, I will link this in chat. You can go to my channel and type, can you afford not to train your alts? This is the one that I recommend you check out. It has this thumbnail, okay? Because what I do is I took one of my alts and I got him LSI training, and then I used the ISK and the PI ISK and the LSI ISK from that character to get the second character, MCT, up because it's on one account. And then I used, once that one was now making me LSIs, now we're on two characters making me LSIs and PI. I made another account, and that's one character. So I omega'd that one, LSI, BPO research, PI. Then once that one was up and running, I get a fourth one. So I just kept like leapfrogging down. So now like these three are making me ISK every month. And I'm basically paying for this one up front, and then it's about 6 months of training time to get here unless I use LSIs to push it forward. So if you're curious about all that, if that was like, what the hell are you talking about? It's this video. Check it out. I can definitely, chat. That is one of the main ways that I pay for all the giveaways that we do is through that way. So sick. Good job, Chloroken. Let me unmute this. Thank you very much. All right, and there we go.
And what these will allow us to do is compress our gas, because now we can use an industrial core and a gas compressor on our Orca. So admittedly, I have no clue how this works. I've never done this, never been huge on industry, but I believe we just turn the modules on and then we can...
He's never done this before, and he does it anyway. We need to be more like Chloroken. How many of you don't ever do something because you're scared to lose your ship? Scared you're going to do it wrong? My man's is recording for the world to see. Never done it before. Check out that horizon, y'all. Go on an adventure. Get undocked and get to it. There's a reason why a lot of my videos are like, here's how to make ISK, because I think winning Eve is not quitting the game, okay? Winning Eve is playing the game and having enough ISK that you can yeet stuff and not have to stress about the yeet, okay? We're looking at some endgame stuff here. You have an Orca, you have the big stuff coming in. Develop your skills and start slow. You don't have to go on a massive nomad journey to have fun in Eve. There's a reason why we put out Abyss, PI, Industry, mining, ice mining, industry videos, so you can make stuff on the back burner while you play the game. That's what I do, and that's what you can do too. Okay.
Just somehow use the modules to compress the gas? I'm actually not sure. We're going to find out. So let's just turn on this SMA. Get these modules online without nuking our power.
Yep.
And then
Sick.
we'll figure out on the fly how to actually compress gas.
Pretty cool. So he's trying to turn on a ship maintenance array, which is going to let his Orca use a fitting service. Now you could also, I think, use a mobile depot. I think. Is that not easier? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong about that being easier. There's other stuff you can use it for, though. You could probably store ships in there, too. I haven't used one myself.
I still have my fit from moving it.
Yep.
Okay, well, yeah, we're going to have to turn off the micro, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, just turn these on.
Good.
Seems good.
Nice. Gas compressor on. Cool.
How the hell does this work? I can use this in a POS, right? I hope to God I can use this in a POS.
I think you can, right?
Okay. So I just have to use the industrial core.
Oh, he's never used the core. Yeah, if you're trying to use a compressor, you have to activate the Indy core and then activate the gas compressor. They both have to be on in order to use it. Now, you can actually turn off the Indy core and leave the gas compressor on, leave any of the compressors on. But once that last cycle is done, then they'll both just be off. So,
Sure,
yeah.
And then does it just compress everything in the mining hold?
In the mining hold. Yep. He's never done it before, chat. This is
Not
cool.
sure how this works.
It's on. Now, compress. Wow.
I have to like, oh,
half
okay,
a
look at
billion. Compress.
That. Holy sh!
This is even easier now because this is how old? This is 3 years ago, so this has gotten way better now. The compressor window, it's just one click instead of like 3, so it's much easier now.
Well, that's easy.
Easy. Incredible.
Very cool.
Look how much inventory space he just saved.
Look how easy that is.
Yeah.
And now I can carry 10 times as much gas back to high stack.
Yep. So he just went from 200K M3, a literal freighter size amount of weight, and now it's 17.8, just under 18K M3. You could fit that into an Octator and still have 2/3 of the space. Love it. Love it.
Per trip, which obviously dramatically affects what I'm able to do out here in terms of funding.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Yep. You think about that? That was
So
like
I
half a
stumbled upon
billion.
a very quick connection to Jitta earlier, and I want to show you what that looks like.
Yes.
We're going to speed it up 5 times, just to make it a little bit more tolerable to watch. But this is how fast you could.
I think we're in the
technically get
Bustard.
to Jitta
No, we're in the
from
Crane.
A C4, which has no direct connection to high sec.
So interesting that he's got the micro warp drive on with the covert ops cloak. He does have the interdiction nullifier. The micro warp drive on a Crane is such a debate because I've always said you don't need one on a blockade runner because if you get caught, you're dead anyway. Because if someone's scramming you, the MWD is not going to work because the disruptor or with scram, whichever it is, will get rid of it. And typically gankers will have both. So, but then do you want an afterburner? Because they'll just have a web. What I like to do is just call it and say a spade, a spade. So I'll show you do I have my Crane fit saved? I don't think I do. I think it's on my other account. I'll show you my blockade runner here. This is my Vider fit that I take out, and it's only 160 million ISK. You think the literal hundreds of billions of ISK that I have gotten safe because of this blockade runner is nuts. Okay, so instead of getting, and I'll accept y'all to the Fry fleet. We are about to start it. So give me 5, then we go. Okay, get to Jitta, y'all. Get to Jitta, y'all. Last call. We're about to do our like Fry fleet. So I just fit tank. Again, I act like the ship is going to get caught, and this is the difference between. Some people like the prop mod, some people don't. You can do whatever you would like. You know, it's really just up to you. It depends on what you would like. This is the fit I use. We can put this in the description, I guess, if I remember to do it. So let's see how he does on his way back to Jitta. Okay.
Static wise.
Yep.
So we're pulling up the map here a little bit, and you can actually see how this works.
So that's Pathfinder. Oh, geez. I just maximized the thing. That's Pathfinder. This is a third-party tool you can use to map wormholes. It's pretty sick. We like it a lot. We're going to probably have a guide on that at some point. He's got a massive, full of stuff. It's hard to see behind the chat, but he's got full inventory. This is 220 million ISK of gas in the in the Crane coming back.
Blue square. We're traveling through the green squares to get to the high sec square in the top left.
That's right, other one. It is.
That to get through the last C2, it's red, which means I've seen.
The micro warp drive helps to cloak pulse back to the gate fast. Well, you don't need it with a covert ops cloak, right? Covert ops cloak Don't need it. Now I hear what you're saying, Symbiotes, that a micro warp drive could help you crash the gate you just came through faster. But honestly, you should just warp off to a celestial and then warp back. I don't ever go on grid with my blockade runner. I'm always warping. That's kind of my point. But again, you can do what you would like. So can you potch an express path to Jitta from J space? No, you cannot use filaments in wormhole space. That's a really good question from Gone Linked. Really, really good question. So yeah.
Enemies there in space. So.
Great question. All right, so he's back in high sec.
So that means one thing.
Back.
It means our exit wormhole was right next to Jitta.
Yep.
Which it was. It was one jump from Jitta. Now, because that was so fast, we're actually going to show you the reverse trip as well. Same speed up 5 times. And I want you to see if you can keep track of what we're doing, right? So we go to undock bookmark so we don't get one shot.
Yep.
Use cloak the rest of the way.
So what is talking about, he's in a Viator. Right? He's in a blockade runner, excuse me. And you'll notice he's got this, it goes fast. I'm like trying to pause it. He's got an undock bookmark. He has an insta undock. And we actually go over this in our freighter. It's this guy right here. We go over this in our freighter hauling video. If this is the station and you exit, you need to have a bookmark ready to go that you can just warp to, and it needs to be straight off. So if you look at if you look at the station on like a graph, you need to be literally directly in line of it. And we go over this in our advanced freighter hauling video about how to make one of those. We have a Punisher that you can use to do this. It's very cheap. It goes very fast for what it is. You do need semi-max skills to do this, but you can still do it. We call this the I'm fast as heck boy. This Punisher goes 8,500 on grid. 8,500. Okay, so you undock with this. If this is Jitta, and this is like a line showing you undock and you just double click in space and you go straight and you come back after half an hour, you get lunch. You come back and you're like 10K plus off grid. This is your safe bookmark off grid. That's how you would do that. We're going to do this a lot with this series because Chloroken is very excellently going on the adventure. I'm going to over-explain for the new bros inevitably that are watching so you can understand what the heck people are doing. So people are still parallel in Jitta. Guess who's been killed in their Viator in Jitta? Because I didn't have an insta undock and an insta dock at the time. And guess what I made right after I died? That's right.
Use cloak the rest of the way. So we jump from Jitta 4-4 to a Stargate. We jump from that Stargate to a wormhole.
Yep.
We go into the wormhole.
That's it.
Now we're going to rely on our bookmark scheme. We're going to go from the first wormhole to a second wormhole. We're going to go from the second wormhole to a third wormhole.
Wow.
And third wormhole to a fourth wormhole.
And you see why Pathfinder is so necessary. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom in on this with one of my tools here. Okay, because I have a zoom tool. So yeah, let me put this right here. Oh, geez Louise. As I completely decimate everything and everything is terrible. Let me do this here. Okay, right about there. Sure. So you can see that this is where he lives. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna try. This is Jitta. I'm trying to find it. No, this is not. That's not where he lives. This is where he lives. So he goes 1, 2, and then where's Jitta? Here. 3, and then it looks like 4. So you can see this is like 2, 3. I know this is crappy with a mouse. 4. Okay, so he goes down the chain to get home. That's why Pathfinder's so great, because it shows you a visual of how things are. I wish this was in the game, and maybe one day it can be, so y'all can be able to map stuff out better. Wander's better than Pathfinder. It might be. It might be. So,
which leads to our home system.
But tell the truth, Laura, it wasn't an insta-dock and you had valuable cargo. No, I had nothing in the cargo. It was just some guy killing blockade runners, truly. You can look at my Z kill. It was on my main. I had nothing. It's my only Viator kill in Jitta, I think. I'm pretty sure. I had nothing in my cargo, and I was like, I pressed dock instead of book to an insta-dock. I clicked dock like a dummy.
Now we can put stuff back in the Orca.
I warped like 3K off, so. All right,
just
now he's
like
back.
That, I came across this system that, just look at it.
And before he goes to the next adventure, I have to start the Frye fleet. That was really, really sick. So we are going to start here on the next video. The important thing to understand about what just happened is he used wormholes to be safe. He got gas in the wormhole. He went on an op and to push some people off. He then took the wares back to Jitta and sold it. Incredible stuff. And this was 3 years ago. you can do this too. We're going to have the entire A Nomad's Tale, the Ant playlist, going to be right here for you, okay? And if you want more Eve guides and the best kind of Eve stories told and explanations therein, sub right here. Thanks for, we're very close to 32,000 on YouTube. Y'all will see you in the next video. Thanks very, very much.